You're on Double J with Tim Shiel this afternoon, and in the studio with me I have Radnor and Lee, Josh Radnor and Ben Lee. Why is it Radnor and Lee and not Lee and Radnor? How did you figure this one out?
What was it? Arm wrestle?
Yeah, he's a Indian foot wrestling. No, well, I mean, because you say Lee and Radnor,
Yeah.
and it sounds like Leanne Radnor.
Ah.
It sounds like a, I don't know.
This was an
lady.
intense minute and 30-second conversation we had about this in New York when
it
we
was
settled
so
on the name.
obvious once we said it. It was like Radnor.
Yeah.
Sounds better.
Leanne Radnor sounds like an amazing country songwriter from
We
the
love
70s.
Leanne Radnor.
Yeah.
She's going to open for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard her record? I mean, it's
Yeah,
stunning.
it's pretty good. I mean, I like the early stuff.
So the impression I get from you guys, like watching a few interviews and reading interviews, and it even comes through in the music, like you guys are genuine besties. Is that fair to say? Like you are best mates? Like, do
adults really use that term anymore? I mean,
Don't
we
they?
definitely like each other.
Yeah.
Is it a competition?
I don't want to rank Ben, or people will feel bad listening. Yeah.
It's not a competitive thing. But for sure, I would say the collaboration comes out of the friendship, and my interest in keeping the collaboration healthy is in keeping the friendship healthy, first and foremost. I think that is sort of why it works.
But I would say also, even though we'd been friends for a long time before we started, we're better friends now because we're spending all this time together, and we're really going deep in terms of just sharing about where we're at and everything, and that's where a lot of the songs come out of. So.
So is there like a simmering tension underneath all of this that we can look forward to, like the next Radnor and Lee record being the difficult album where you're kind of writing songs in separate rooms and you're sending people?
No, we're
into
not
each
there
other?
yet.
No?
I don't think...
Give us time.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're like now a little too mature to allow things to... Like a lot of the bands that really have those tensions, they started... and created all this resentment when they were emotionally immature. Like they often started at 20, when you don't understand the long-term consequences of not protecting the relationships.
Yeah.
For most people, like once you get into your like 30s and 40s, you kind of go, oh, right, it's about people. If we don't keep this healthy, nothing's going to work.
It's a very Double J answer, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Good work.
Let them bicker at Triple J.
Yeah.
Over here at Double J,
we're
the
both,
artists are healthy.
Yeah. I think we value communication and keeping things, healthy and like you said, not letting resentments build up. So, yeah, that's the non-rock star. It's very not rock starry what we're talking about.
Hey, it's the new rock star.
That's right. That's right.
Very nice. Just for those who don't know, can we go back and figure out where you guys did actually meet? Because you guys have been friends for a long time before this music project started. How did you guys hook up initially?
Well, we met on the set of Josh's show, How I Met Your Mother. The creators had reached out about using one of my songs, and I emailed and thanked them, and they said, you're in LA, why don't you come down to the set? And we met there, and over some time, some strange events occurred where we kept crossing paths in ways that, I mean, I don't want to ascribe too much like universal magic to these things, but you do sometimes see it in these important relationships that it feels like you can't avoid getting to know each other.
Yeah, that's what happened. I mean, it was a couple months after. We had a really deep, long conversation that day.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we didn't even exchange info. And a couple months later, we ran into each other kind of serendipitously, and then just ended up having dinner with him and Ione, who's his now wife. And a year later, I was at their wedding in India, and we've just been friends ever since.
And when you initially had that spark and you thought that you were maybe... I mean, it's funny, I just want to talk about your friendship.
That's okay.
Because I find it so heartening.
We talk about it too,
It's a lovely story of like, guys who... A lot of friendships form when you are younger, but when you have such a meaningful friendship form when you're a bit older, I think sometimes it has a bit more meaning. What was it about each other that you think really kind of solidified it in those first early meetings?
Make me cry, Ben. Do it.
I don't know. I think for me, interestingly, okay, both of us grew up with sisters.
Yeah.
In sort of female-dominated environments. And so... I can just for myself, male friendships was something that I kind of learnt about later, really. Like all my early intense friendships were with women. And I feel like it was sort of like more in the last decade that I've come to like really understand the power of male friendships. But I still, I'm not interested in like, just like, I don't know, like I guess you'd say the stereotypical male friendship of just like, getting wasted and ogling women together or something. You know,
Sports. We
yeah,
don't
just
talk a lot of
watching
sports.
It's like
No
I,
sports.
I like you know, I like the fact that with Josh there's this sort of intellectual and artistic creative compatibility. And I don't know. I mean, it's something I'm still learning about. Like, honestly, like, I don't know if you've ever been in like intense collaborations, but they feel sort of like karmic, like you've got stuff to teach each other and learn from each other. And I think the story of Josh's role in my life is one that I'll only understand a long way down the road. Like, I'm just sort of in it right now, and I'm trying to honor it and learn from it and enjoy it. And I don't have a lot of answers about it.
It's funny because when you're asked to unpack something that actually just feels really organic and kind of strange, you almost don't want to talk about it too much because it has a thing. Like Ben's talked about, you know, I've been put in rooms with a lot of people and said, like, write a song together, and sometimes it's excruciating. But we get in a room together and songs come out of us. And we've never really left a songwriting session without something that we're excited about. So I also think we share a similar enthusiasm for making stuff in like a really pure way. I think we're both a little bit still bowled over that we are able to do this for a living, and that no one's, you know, come to cart us away and make us work in a bank or something. You know, there's something great about, we're just enthusiastic about making things, and it just lights us up. And to be able to do it, I think that there's something about Radnor and Lee's songs. I've told Ben, they don't really sound like Ben Lee songs. And I write my own songs now, and they don't really sound like Josh Radnor's songs. There's a very particular alchemy that happens where I look at a song sometimes after we've written it and I go, I don't know where that idea came from or who said what. I just know that I really like this song.
It's the magic of musical collaboration, really.
Yeah.
We've got Josh Radnor and Ben Lee from Radnor and Lee in the Double J studio. Before we hear a song from the record, is it true that, Ben, that you taught Josh guitar?
No. Josh is learning guitar on his own. I think what I'm a cheerleader, you know, for him playing guitar, because what I'm seeing is, and I saw this from day one, was that the more music of his own musicality that he brings to the project, I think the more it accelerates our journey into something unique that's not controlled by me and my skill set, you know? So I've been all for, and interestingly, recently we had an experience where we were recording this song here for a show Josh was on Rise, and it was Josh's production idea that actually I think I did a lot of the recording and engineering, and then Josh had like a mix idea that really brought it to a new place for me. So I think I'm actually looking for more and more musical production and creative input from Josh and his vocabulary to expand technically so that it takes me out of my comfort zone and we make something that's uniquely like us.
Right.
It's a funny thing also, like I directed 2 films. I didn't go to film school. I learned how to direct films by directing films.
Yeah.
And I'm learning how to play guitar in front of a paying audience, you know, and luckily they're forgiving, but yeah.
We have Radnor and Lee in the Double J studio. Let's hear a song. Let's hear it. You're on Double J with Radnor and Lee live in the studio. Still Though We Should Dance.
Sifting through the rubble of my misspent life. No home of my own, no child, no wife. Every kind of error and all kinds of strife. Days lived in a trance. People that have hurt more than a few. I told a lot of lies, said what was true. Always left the real for the slick and new romance. Still I'm gonna dance. My joy went down. Felt like I've been dropped at the lost and found. Tried to stop it sliding, but it's coming down like an avalanche.
I'm not superstitious, though I fear I was cursed. You think that almost drowning would have quenched my thirst. But you walked in the room and I knew it all first glance. With you I
but my heart's now in your hands.
So maybe we should dance.
That's Radnor and Lee. And I have Josh Radnor and Ben Lee live in the Double J studio with me, Tim Shiel, for a bit of a chat. You guys are about to play a few shows. Your first shows in Australia. And am I right in saying, Josh, is your first time in Australia?
Correct.
Whoa.
Yeah.
When did you get in?
I mean, I'm so disoriented. When did we get in? Yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning.
Yeah, early morning.
Yeah. Any kind of immediate gut feeling observations about our fine country? This is the bit where you have to pretend to say nice
I
things.
feel Sydney, because I was so jet lagged and it was so rainy yesterday. I'm going to withhold any sort of assessment of Sydney, but I've only been in Melbourne a couple hours and it's delightful.
Do you have any kind of preconceived notions about what to expect from Australia or Australians? I mean, you must know a lot of Aussies back in LA.
Yeah. Well, I've always enjoyed meeting Australians, and if you do any sort of international travel, you'll encounter the Australians who are hitting the road and out there. But I figured coming to Australia for the first time with Ben and with Radnor and Lee was ideal.
I mean, I've been so excited to have Josh here. In Sydney, it's like my family's there and everything.
Yeah.
But I've got friends, everywhere we go. I mean, I always think, like, as a touring musician, the real highlight is the people and the other musicians you connect with. Like, that's how I don't know, that's sort of how we experience the world. So it's just the most exciting thing is just bringing Josh out here and doing shows, and, it's a blast.
I always love it when something I've made brings me to another country that I wouldn't have been at maybe otherwise. It's not like I said, like, let's book some tickets to Australia. It's like, no, we're actually doing something. It's like your film gets invited somewhere.
Yeah.
There's something terrific about that to me.
Yeah, and one of the things that's been really important for us is to not feel at all entitled to an audience, or like, we've really just like, we started doing these little shows at Hotel Cafe, which is like a little songwriter venue in Hollywood. And we haven't been at all like, hey, we are a super group, put us on the grand stages of the world. It's very much like, hey, let's go out and win crowds over and play our songs and chat to people. And so it's really been fun to build this, like, just sort of humbly from the ground up.
Yeah.
That is a really interesting situation for you guys, I think, because I think both of you are obviously so down to earth and you're pretty earnest as individuals, but you must encounter some cynicism around the project because of your histories with other projects.
Well, I
in
think
the past.
if you just hear about it, it's odd.
Yeah.
Right. But I also think I always think about actors with side musical projects is not like the most
highly regarded.
Yeah, it's not the most highly regarded subgenre of music. So
like, no one goes, what kind of albums I love? Ones made by actors. That's kind of my favorite style.
Yeah. So I think Ben's right that we're having to earn it, step by step, and say we're serious about this, and we think we're making really good music, and people seem to really be responding to it. So come out and see us and decide for yourself. But it's not. We generally find at the end of shows we have more fans than outrage.
Yeah, it's funny. We sort of
takers.
have a fair amount of people who come to the shows, I think, somewhat as a freak show.
Right.
Like, they're like, what is this? Come on, let's go. Oh, Bentley, and the guy from How I Met Your Mother. They think it's going to be funny, but not in the way we intend. And then they leave and they're fans. And that's sort of, I said to Josh from the beginning, like, instead of thinking about other successes as impediments, you look at it as like, hey, whatever gets people through the door, it's okay. And then our job is just put on a great show.
You are putting on a few shows. You're playing in Brisbane, Melbourne and Sydney. And I saw that you've announced Sally Seltman as your guest for all the shows. That's great. Ben, you and Sally go way back, right?
Well, Sally, I mean, my band Noise Addict and her band Luster 4 used to play together in Sydney all the time. We toured around Australia, and then I've done stuff with her. I mean, it's over 20 years. We've done a ton of stuff, and she's got the same birthday as me too.
No way.
Yeah, September 11.
Okay.
We have a great connection. I love her. So happy that she wanted to do it.
Radnor and Lee in the studio live on Double J with me, Tim Shiel. It sounds like maybe you need some ideas for some Australian things to do, Josh, while you're here. So I might put the call out 0408 345555 if any unique Australian cultural experiences. So
I
maybe
am open to suggestions.
Yeah. So send your suggestions in and we'll see where we can get on the itinerary for Josh Radnor while he's in town. All right. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Bearings are lost so far from home. Why did I think that I could do it alone? Asking for strength, calling for will. Hoping my legs get me over this hill. I'm putting one foot in front of the other, taking me back to the great father mother. One foot in front of the other, back to the arms of the great father mother. Over my lungs, fill them with air. Give me the words and help me strengthen my prayer. My body is weak, mind prone to stray. A head full of doubt, but I walk anyway. We're putting one foot in front of the other, taking us back to the great father mother. One foot in front of the other, back to the arms of the great father mother. So I'm gonna sing to you, now I'm gonna sing, turn over everything to you. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Now I'm gonna sing. I sing out for protection and I sing to be redeemed. I sing to stem illusion, knowing nothing's what it seems. I sing out for the hurting and I sing out for the healed. I sing to call the warrior guided by Athena's shield. I sing out for the old man and I sing out for the youth. I sing that I may know and fall more deep in love with truth. I sing because I'm happy and I sing because I'm free. I sing to you today because this song was sung for me. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We're putting one foot in front of the other, taking us back to the great father mother. One foot in front of the other, back to the arms of the